Hi everyone, welcome to Cloud Cafe. This is a podcast where we talk about the future of cloud computing and also explore what's going on right now. Today we have our guest here, Yvo van Zee. He wears multiple hats. He is an AWS community builder. He is a team leader, also very well versed with AWS CDK, and of course, a family man. So let's talk to him and see how he's managing it all. Also, if you are someone who is looking forward to work in AWS, if you have already worked in AWS, this is a podcast for you. So stay tuned and let's see. I did a bit of research about you, okay? Because so I just wanted to know who am I meeting, who am I going to chat with today. So did a bit of research on LinkedIn. Couldn't find a lot, honestly. But then I landed on your website.
Yeah.
And I found a lot.
Okay.
And then I was like, wow, now I know who this person is, kind of. And then I was like, very, very intrigued to have a conversation with you. And I was like, okay, the next one I want to speak with should be Yvo.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah.
So please tell me, how did you end up here in cloud consulting?
It's a long story, basically. It started 15-ish years ago, something like that. I did my graduation internship at former employer as well, called Sentia. And there I did a project on monitoring. And Sentia was then still a company which was basically a hosting company. So we had a data center, multiple data centers, did the servers, racking, cable, patching, everything. And we moved along the time to cloud as well, but not public clouds, but private cloud. So we built our own private cloud there, and I helped with that. And then after 10 years, I spoke to Stijn, our CTO, and he was a former school colleague of mine. So we were sitting in the same classes, and he mentioned, we now have an office in Amsterdam, so you need to come and get a cup of coffee with us. I was like, okay, because I always pushed it back because the office before was in Apeldoorn, of Oblivion, former Oblivion. So he said, now I have an office in Amsterdam, so you can't refuse anymore. So okay, yeah. I went for the cup of coffee, and the rest is history. That was like 5 years ago. Yeah. And that was my adventure in the public cloud. So I did private cloud, and then it was public cloud, and all in AWS. And basically still loving it every day, every minute, every hour. Every second. Yeah.
It is so fascinating to know, right? When just a cup of coffee together, right? And the conversations which you have when you are just sitting together and you're sharing ideas, and then you end up working together. Right? This is scary at the same time, honestly, because then I don't know.
So I knew Stijn already from school, so that was the bar was not that high. I did have to invest a lot in public cloud knowledge, of course. But as that was also cool. We had a lot of certifications within Oblivion because we had a sort of rat race to who could achieve the most certificates. So everyone was hammering on learning and getting certificates. I believe even one colleague of us, Sydney, achieved almost all certificates.
He has 13 certifications.
Yeah. So he's. I think back in the days you could get a golden jacket or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has received it already, but maybe we should ask him. That's a fun story as well, I think. But there was a rat race on the certificates, but a fun rat race, so not pushy one. So via that way, I managed to get a lot of knowledge on public cloud, of course. And basically doing consultancy jobs for Oblivion. So helping with customers with creating landing zones, creating Cloud Center of Excellence. Did some projects there. My latest project was data analytics project. So we built a data analytics platform for a customer in the financial industry. So that was nice as well. A bit of sidestep, never touched that before, and that's the cool thing as well with AWS, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do the same job over and over because there are so many services which you can do. Just go when I need a new assignment, I can do something new every day, and that's so awesome. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite part?
On work or
working, like, because as you mentioned, there are so many technologies, right? And you have to keep yourself updated all the time. So what it is that you absolutely love and you are evolving in that area?
I do a lot in CI/CD pipelines and stuff like that. Building infrastructure as code via an automated way.
Okay.
And doing testing and all those kind of things in a repetitive manner. And that's mostly with CDK. I do a lot there. As you might have seen, my website is all about CDK as well. So that's my focus, I think. But I do love to do side steps. Okay. So the project I did before was the data analytics platform. Also created CDK pipelines and those kind of things to deploy the infrastructure as code for the data analytics platform. But also touch data analytics services. And those kind of things are always nice to do a side step to. So I don't have an exact thing, but it's always centralized around CI/CD and infrastructure as code.
Okay, and because you have recently tipped your toes into data analytics, right? Can you tell us something more about it? Like what excited you towards it and why you started with it?
So this assignment was for a financial customer, or a customer in the financial industry. And basically what they do was clearing transactions on the payments. They have a lot of payments all around the globe, and all those payments are basically information, and they can do stuff with it, reporting, but matching as well. So they had a data analytics platform on premise. But they had the customer had a cloud first focus. The data analytics platform, which was running on premise, was outdated and needed to be changed to the cloud world. So basically, when I saw the assignment, it was like the design was already made by someone else, and was just implementing it. And so basically, you can see it like baking a cake. So you have all your ingredients, just put it in and stumble a bit, and then put it in the oven, and ding, it's ready. And that's how I saw the project. And as well with all the services which I have never touched in the data analytics direction. That was like, this is cool. Let's do this. And the assignment took like 2 years in the end.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big assignment. That was really nice.
Amazing. And has it changed something about your approach of handling other cloud projects that you work upon?
So how should I say it? So what a strong focus or a strong point from former Oblivion was we go in, we help the customer, and we leave. We teach the customer, and then we leave and make them self-sufficient. So that's always the key driver in how I approach things. But this customer, during my assignment, there was also a reorganization taking place.
Okay.
So the company had a lot of trouble finding new personnel to take what I did over and do it themselves. So that's why also the assignment took 2 years. And basically it's still running as we speak. I do it now for 1 day a week.
Okay.
But at a certain moment I said, okay, I need to step down here because there's no incentive for the customer to take ownership of the platform we've built, sort of together, but basically we did it as Xabia. And so that's when I said that, I think it was in November, I need to step down. And you as a customer have 5 months to hire someone or to look internally for people and train them with the knowledge, and I can provide them with my knowledge and do handovers and knowledge sharing. But this needs to stop, because otherwise we would still be there for 2 more years or X amount of years, and that's basically still not how I see how we help people. Yeah, so the customer doesn't have the incentive to hire people to gain the knowledge to replace me. And that's why I said, okay, till this end, and then you need to do it on yourself. Otherwise, we would still be there in 10 years. And then it's more like, paid work for not really helping, but just doing the labor. Yeah. And that's not how I often approach projects. And that momentum basically took too long, because it was like 1 year and 7 months, 8 months, till I made the decision, okay, now it's enough. And for future projects, I will be more focused on the knowledge sharing and moving away from the customer as well, because in the end they need to do it themselves, because we're consultants, so we need to hop to the new assignment as well. Yeah,
definitely. But honestly, this is very rare to see that a consultant is saying that, hey, client, now I need to move away because this is not working out, or my job is done and I'm just doing a repetitive thing, or you don't need me to do this job anymore.
No, I'm too much of expensive labor for this kind of work, indeed. Yeah.
Well, very, very nice, and really happy that your expensive labor, you took out some time for us today. But coming back to the infrastructure as code, right? Off the camera, you mentioned that you work on CDK a lot, right? So, what sparked your interest in CDK, and why CDK?
When I started at Oblivion 5 years ago, it was all Terraform or CloudFormation, and it was nice and all, but there were some things missing. And then I think it was in 2018, CDK was announced to be general available, but even before that, I saw some recordings. I think it was from Elad Ben Israel, which was sort of the founder of CDK. And I was really intrigued by his way of how we should approach infrastructure as code. And that was the baseline of CDK, basically. So I heard it, I dived into it, and I was like, okay, this is the next best thing. And I need to focus on this. And I tried to gather as many information, talks, blogs, and all those kind of things. Gathering the information. And I also said that internally, and I was like, maybe we need to look into the CDK part. But it was in preview, so it was not general available. And people internally were like, do we need to do that? Maybe when a customer comes along, we can invest in it. And I was like, no, we need to do it now. Yeah. And look where we are now. Everyone is using it. It's basically programming language for infrastructure as code.
Yeah.
One of the benefits is that when you hire external personnel, for example, as a customer, they can also look in what kind of programming language the person likes and use infrastructure as code for that, instead of you need to learn CloudFormation or Terraform or one of the other infrastructure as code languages. Yeah. I do have to say that only knowing CDK is not enough. You need to know the basics behind AWS as well. So knowing how services talks to each other, but also the infrastructure as code, CloudFormation, because in the end CDK will generate CloudFormation templates. So you still need to know and how to read those templates as well. Yeah. But yeah, so I started in 2018. Okay. And never stopped using it. I think. Yeah.
Well, how do you feel it's going to change the development process in the next few years? Are there any recent updates that we are expecting from CDK?
Well, we're now at version 2.89, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is with AWS, it never stops creating new services. So the CDK needs to adjust to that as well. I think for now it's quite stable, and it's more like new service coming out, so we need to help that, or maybe bug fixes here and there. New things. Yeah, there was some side project on, for example, a programming language for cloud. It's called Winglan, and that's again from the guy who created CDK. So that could be the next best thing. But yeah, for now I'm still focusing on CDK. Might do an XK on Winglan in the future.
Yeah, definitely. But can you give us a small description or a brief information about Winglan?
Yeah, so basically what it is it's an own programming language. So for example, you have Python, you have Node, you have Java, and all those kind of things. But this is an own compiler as well. Okay. So you write code in a more abstract way. So it's not specific for a cloud, but the programmer, the compiler, makes it your cloud. So if you say, okay, it needs to go for Azure, it goes for Azure. It needs to go for Google or for AWS, it generates those kind of templates. And I think under the hood, it's also using Terraform or might be using CDK.
Okay.
But yeah, I need to dive into that.
So you have more than 15 years of experience working in cloud. You started with on-premise, moved to cloud, and you chose AWS, right? Yeah. And you plan to stay in AWS for at least, let's say, next few years, right?
Next decade. Yeah.
Next decade, okay.
Probably,
okay.
Yeah.
Those are strong words.
Yeah.
But it is one of the best clouds out there, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I still love the job I'm doing as we speak. So yeah, for me, it's not an incentive to move away from this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't read the future. So yeah, okay, a bit of question mark there. But for now, I'm all good.
Yeah. But you know what I love is that even though you are working as an AWS cloud consultant, you're also very active in sharing your knowledge. So as we mentioned before, you have your own website. It's called Yvo van Zee.nl.
Yvo van Zee. Yeah.
Yvo van Zee, sorry. So Yvo van Zee.nl, your website, which is filled with blogs with CDK, but a lot of knowledge sharing. And I see that you're very active in sharing these blogs on LinkedIn as well, right? And you are also an AWS community builder, which is not an easy title to get. So this is for people who are very active in sharing their knowledge through blogs, articles, classes, or a lot of other stuff that people do out there, right? So has this changed something in your work, like the way you approach projects or outside in the community, how you are perceived by others?
So one of the benefits being an AWS community builder is that you have a lot of like-minded people. We do have a Slack channel with each other. So I do also read blogs from other community builders, but also answering questions within the Slack space. It's a really sharing knowledge community. And back in the days when I wasn't a community builder, it was more like, okay, this is a problem I had to tackle. I know it now, and maybe I write an article on our wiki, and that's it, or just say it sometimes, and then when people stumble into the same problem, then they can come to me.
Yeah.
And with the community build program, it was more like, okay, if I just write it down on the internet, then if I can help only one person, it already helps, because he or she doesn't have to struggle through the things I had to do.
Yeah.
That's the thing that changed for me, really helping people. And if it's 100, if it's 1,000, or just a single person, I'm down with that. Yeah. And so that's my main driver to share knowledge. Yeah.
Well, it is kind of rewarding when you see getting traction on the things that you write.
Yeah.
Right. And if someone comes personally to you that, hey, I read your blog and it helped me out.
Yeah.
It is a very good motivator.
That's a satisfying thing. Yeah. So I don't do it for the views, so to say, or for the likes or whatever, because then you need to write other stuff. So, for example, how to pass an exam or something. And I'm more on the real world problems, which I encountered because it took me instead of creating something 2 days, it took me 2 weeks. And why do I need to take that burden all by myself? Let's help others to not have that same burden. And so that's what I do it for.
Well, very nice. Very good to know, because as far as I understand, this does take a lot of effort and a lot of time into it, because then you have to think about everything and write it in such a way that it is not also very long, because then people lose interest, right? And also it is not very holistic, that it leaves out the main details.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? So, well, very good job, and keep doing it.
Thanks.
And I really hope that people outside in the AWS community can definitely benefit from your website. So we will try to put the link to your website when it shows on screen. Let's try and do that with the editing team. But
cool.
Good job.
Thanks.
But apart from this, right? So I had one question in mind, because I saw your LinkedIn and I saw that you were sometime back in the past, of many years ago, right? You were also a logistics manager, right? So you decided to do engineering degree, right? You started you started your bachelor's in tech, right? And then you started working in cloud.
Yeah.
But what made you decide that you want to make this change and not go into logistics?
Yeah, that was just a student job. So basically it was with a lot of students. We drove materials for a clothing company to the shops through the whole of Netherlands. So it was just like a courier, something like that. I think I was in my 20s, and it was a group of almost all 20s. So it was really nice. It was fun and enjoyable, but it was not the future. So no. So that's I just did the job for going out, extra salary, and those kind of things, and fun things. Yeah.
Well, cloud is the future, so.
Yeah, it is.
So you are here.
Yeah.
But what made you stay only in AWS? Like, have you ever thought that you want to explore maybe GCP or Azure Cloud? Because they are also quite big outside, right? And do you think, like, if you have experience on other cloud as well, then you might have you might get a chance to work on maybe more challenging projects, which might include hybrid cloud projects or other kind of challenges that you might not face with AWS?
Yeah, so looking at myself, there's so much out there that I still need to invest in on AWS. And for myself, I study basically daily on services and all those kind of things. If I have to do that for multiple clouds, that's just, I don't know where I need to get the time from. I also am a father of 2 kids and a wife, which needs to be happy as well. So and the thing, there are a lot of concepts in cloud which also are applicable for the other cloud. So if you know how CI/CD works, if you know how networking works for the basics, you can also apply that to the other clouds. For example, Lambda functions in AWS. You also have functions in Azure. So if you know the concepts, I think with minimal time, well, maybe not minimal, but with some effort, you also know the other cloud. But for now, I'm still focusing on AWS because, I'm still liking it a lot. And there's so much out there which I haven't touched, and I would love to. That's why, basically. And also, I joined Oblivion, which was acquired by Xavier, of course. And that was a premier consulting partner of AWS. So we were focusing on AWS only. So that's why I never chose for Google or for Azure. Yeah.
Talking about family, Yvo, so how are you managing everything? It is so challenging in today's world when you're so active professionally and you're also so active in obviously personally managing your family, right? So how are you doing everything and how are you able to excel?
Yeah. So I have a daughter of 1.5 and a son of 6. It's basically being just time driven or something like that. I go to work, I come at home. I do cooking as well at home. Then I spend time with the kids, bringing them to bed and read a story. And then afterwards I dive into new things instead of sitting benching a series on Netflix. I often look into new things from the internet or watching movies or re-event videos or something like that. But sometimes it's challenging. Yeah, indeed. But if there's a way, or if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So I often find a way. Basically that.
Yeah. Well, any books that you're reading recently?
At the moment, I'm diving into programming patterns.
Okay.
Because I'm still lacking a bit on the whole object-oriented programming. I'm more of an infrastructure programmer. So with also looking back to the background, building infrastructure as code was more like, okay, I need a VPC, I need an EC2, I need a load balancer, and I know in which way. And when we move to CDK, you can still apply that kind of methods. But CDK, or basically the whole programming, is more on the object-oriented programming stuff.
Okay.
And there are design patterns which you can apply to your code. So I'm diving into that as we speak. And try to apply them in my future jobs as well.
Okay. Well, very nice. Thanks a lot, Yvo. So finally, do you have any suggestions for people who are looking forward to a career in AWS?
Yeah. So go do, go build, go. Yeah, because practice makes perfect, and it all starts with doing. Just if you have a small idea, just start with that, and then try to iterate on it. So, for example, just try to create a website, serverless, for example, with CDK, of course.
Yeah.
There are a lot of workshops as well available from AWS, and yeah, try from there. I think also that on universities and stuff like that, there are classes being given on cloud. So yeah, you can always look into those as well. But just start by doing. That's my advice. Yeah.
Thank you, Yvo, for your time today and also going through this journey with us in the world of cloud computing, for answering all the questions I had and sharing your beautiful experience that you have had in so many years. So it was a pleasure for me, and I hope for also the viewers to understand how you're managing the community, how you're contributing to it, and how you're learning every day, and of course, managing the balance in family life and work life, which is so very important. Right, so from CDK projects to team leadership work, he's doing everything, and I honestly hope that you were able to learn something from this today. And keep exploring the ever-changing world of cloud. So stay tuned for the next episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye!